Okay, it's funny because none of my parents knew how to cook. My father was an accomplished lawyer. He was a solicitor general, and my mom was also an accomplished educator. She was also in public service, right? One thing about them that I got is really to do good and to be passionate about what you do, right? Because you have to enjoy what you do, right? So when I was a kid, I was fascinated with restaurants. Not only fascinated, but actually with food production and creating food. When I was a kid, during that time, there were no fast food restaurants in the Philippines. I mean, you'll only get a decent meal probably in a 5-star hotel, right? And of course, my parents, they have not only 5-star hotels, but I was fascinated with whatever I can see in cookbooks or in those time life cookbooks, diba? So what I did was I tried cooking them myself, right? And just trying to create something out of nothing, right? And I knew, and when I was a kid, I started selling baked goods like brownies, pinwheel cookies, and I knew there was always money in it. So that was a good driving force. And when I was a kid, every Christmas or every time people would order, I was 9 years old. There was always money because I was able to get my dream bicycle, my dream camera, and it's all because of working or cooking something and selling it. So really, it's the money behind producing great food. Was a good driving. Kasi it's good to start with baking because baking is an exact science. I mean, there's no such thing as, it's all about baker's percentage, right? So my advice is really for people to start with baking, and then from there, as long as you know your basics, as long as you know your measurements, your percentages, then you move on, you progress to hot food, to savory food. Kasi if for baking, if you miss out on basic stuff such as letting the yeast rise on time, your bread won't rise, right? Your cake won't also bake, right? Won't bake properly. So you have to know your basics. A lot of people I know who never went through baking and just went through cooking, sometimes their percentages are not correct, right? With baking, kasi it's an exact science, right? You should know the amount of yeast or the baking powder that you need in order for that cake or for that bread to rise. So really, I started off with baking. Why? Because it was also easier to bake, right? And it was easier to sell. And it's easier to sell food safety wise, as opposed to selling something savory and bottling it. I already had Cyma, right? And it's my Greek restaurant.
Different.
Yeah, I have had Cyma, my Greek restaurant, but part of developing the menu for Cyma through all those years, right? If there was a dish that contained an ingredient that's not part of the Greek pantry, I'd put it in a box. So ingredients such as kimchi, that's not part of the Greek pantry. Ingredients such as ricotta cheese, that's not part of the Greek pantry, diba? Ingredients such as onion jam, right? That's not part of it. So every time I develop a recipe that's not included in the Greek pantry, I put it in a box, right? And of course, because of all these years, I was able to have a relationship with my suppliers, to my farmers, for them to plant organic ingredients for me, right? So what I did, I mean, believe it or not, the Green Pastures took about 7 years to develop. Why? It's because building the relationship with the farmer took most of the time, right? So can you now imagine? I have recipes now that's not part of the Greek pantry, no? And then I have now organic farmers, and what topped it the most really is my sister-in-law had cancer. She passed on already, but then again I realized that we've been really eating dirty food, and she told me that when she was still alive that you really have to stay away from food that's laced with pesticides, insecticides, and all these artificial and unsustainable ways of farming. So from that time on, I knew I had to offer a restaurant to the Philippines wherein it's clean food, sustainably farmed, and holistically prepared. The difference with Green Pastures and other restaurants is we go to the market first and then we design our menu. Okay? As opposed to other restaurants, they design the menu and they look for an importer. Right? Ours, it's different. Whatever is in the market, that's when we design our menu.
Whatever available.
So what's available. So we also we're the only multi-branched restaurant that has a constantly evolving menu. We change our menu on a monthly basis based on what's available. Right? The reason why we have those that menu in a clip, diba? In a clipboard is because we have to get rid of the menu after a month, right? So it's constantly evolving, and we're the only dated menu right now in the Philippines. Dated, So it's really making sure that our chefs, our cooks, are cooking it right, diba? Where we make sure that our ingredients are correct, right? And for consistency purposes, diba, we make sure that we're constantly training, constantly teaching them proper techniques, and it's a never-ending educational thing. Yeah. The olden times before, right? That's really how it is. You have to constantly create. We were just lost in this constantly. I mean, in this world. Yeah, kasi now now you're supposed to import stuff, import ingredients for you to cook in your restaurant. No. It was like before, you have to only cook with what's available, right? So at least your carbon footprint also is not very high, and not only that, you're at least helping also the local farmers. I'm Pinoy. At the end of the day, my comfort food is really Filipino. Right? So I also try to put a lot of Filipino influences in my dishes, right? I particularly like the Pinoy salad. Why? It's because it has a lot of local vegetables such as fiddlehead ferns and the local bahay kubo vegetables also, di ba? But I particularly really like the local stuff, the Pinoy flavor, such as the Pinoy eggs, right? Such as our lechon, di ba? Kasi at the end of the day, I'm Pinoy, but the techniques I learned from abroad, though, it's also implemented, and it's one of the they're probably the most loved dishes in Green Pastures. And it's also because one more reason why I opened this is because people are getting, my target market right now, I know for a fact, they're probably on a low carb diet, or they're probably on a high fiber diet, or a zero carb diet, high protein, di ba? And these are the people who they're willing to pay a lot of money for this kind of food, this kind of the dishes, right? Honestly, people won't pay 600 pesos for a pizza because probably the person who's eating it, right, won't eat pizza, right? But people are willing to pay 600 bucks for a salad bowl because that person probably can afford it. Not only can afford it, he needs a lot of fiber, and he can't anymore afford to eat a lot of food that's heavy on carbohydrates. Exercise in the morning. I need to go. At least I do some running, right? And then after that, of course I have a light breakfast first. Usually it's a banana, and some cauliflower rice and an egg, right? And then I go na for my walk or for my run, diba? That's about an hour, and then after that, I go to the office, right? I don't eat anymore for at least 4 hours, right? So when I go to the office or I go to the restaurant, I plan on, whatever I previously planned to do that day, or what my objective is for the whole week. I already, I try to fulfill it little by little. You can't naman do everything in one scoop, right? So you have to constantly, build it. So by the end of the week, tapos na lahat yan, di ba? And then I meet my team. I meet my team. At least we know already what to do, what's in store for us, what's ahead, what to work on, which are deadlines, right? And then the cooking only happens late lunch already. Because what I actually do right now is I go around and inspire my cooks, inspire my workers or my servers to do better, just to inspire them, just to go there. I can't naman anymore cook kasi we have 12 restaurants already. I can't naman cook for everyone anymore, but so that's why you need to trust, or you need to have good people under you, so that you inspire them to cook well, to cook better, right? To do their job better. So that happens from lunchtime till about early dinner. So then in the afternoon, I toy around with them. We play with new recipes. We just in this field, unlike other chefs, I constantly challenge my recipes. Forever challenging my ingredients, right? If there's a new ingredient available, sure. If it's better, sure. Even if it's expensive, as long as it's better, let's go for it, right? Getting active, I used to be like 50 pounds heavier, but I know for a fact that I have to start exercising. I can only reward myself of something really, really, really good if I exercise beforehand. Right? I mean, I'd eat anything. I mean, there are days which I crave for a 2-inch steak, right? But I know I have to burn before and after, right? I have to. But then again, there are nights wherein I know it's a wine tasting dinner, right? So I have to make sure that before I have to burn at least 800 calories, so that when I go for that event, afterwards, the day after, I have to again burn. I mean, I have to. I mean, my love for food supersedes already. I cannot go on a diet. That's one thing for sure. I can't. But what I can do is I can exercise. So that's what I'm more active. I've never been so active in my whole life except now. Yeah, because I really need to, in order for me to enjoy food, I have to be. Learn. I mean, failures actually, it's a learning curve. I mean, that's the nice thing about it, because you learn from it, right? And then you become a winner again. I mean, I've had. It's always because of. I know I have good judgment, right? But I mean, of course, I have also partners, and then sometimes they have poor judgment, right? So it's always a learning curve. So you just have to make sure, and in failure, you have to know, I mean, your lesson. Then it becomes a success story for you, right? That's one thing I know. I mean, if you fail, if you don't succeed on something, it only means one thing: you learn something new. So that's my perception. So now it's always something that it's always never-ending learning. Okay, it's because I love food. I really like to eat, and there's no other career that I would rather do than being a chef or being a restaurateur, right? But I see myself kasi shifting already to the hotel. So to do something that's bigger. Diba? I'm shifting to another. But then again, it's still food related. Of course, you have to be very passionate, right? Passion is important. I mean, you need to have that unwavering heat inside you that you like doing that, and this is what you love doing. 50 employees who have sustainable jobs, meaning we hire them. We don't believe in contractualization, right? This is a hospitality business. I make sure that my cooks are well trained, not exploited, right? So imagine I have 250 families that at least I know that my talent did not go to waste. I mean, and because of that, I know I'm able to help people uplift their lives also, and also help our economy in a way. Like Cyma, it means to flourish, and Green Pastures means there's a better place, diba? So I mean, even with my employees, if they tell me that they want to travel, I won't stop them, because of course they want to see greener pastures. I mean, even my ex-employees who are abroad already working, they would pray for my success. Not only that, they would come back and work for me again, because that's really how it is. Into your head. I mean, always do something because you love doing it, because it's your desire to do it, right? The one thing I also noticed about being in the restaurant, especially in this business, is if you do something for personal gratification, it's never gonna happen, right? You do something because it's for the good of everyone, right?